Hey everybody, Jim from Jim's Coleus. Happy belated Valentine's Day. Sort of a bittersweet time this year. It was a year ago tomorrow that I had to say goodbye to my beloved Yorkie Newton. He was my right hand, my right arm. I miss him greatly, and it's really tough. Those of you who have pets or dogs specifically, you know where I'm coming from. So it's very difficult. Newton was such a part of my life, so dedicate this video to this short to my beloved Yorkie Newton. I miss you, pal. Maybe we'll meet again. I'm expecting to start my seeds tomorrow. However, what I do is, because I grow, it's just me. I don't have a staff. I grow about 500 Coleus or so. I don't sow every single one of them in one day. I'll start a tray and then wait a few days, 4 or 5 days, not really a week. I'll wait a few days and then do another one, and then another one. I have about 3 or 4 trays, so I do spread them out, and I do that for, the main reason I do that is to spread out as they start to develop, to spread out, so when it comes time for me to start separating them, trimming them and so forth, I don't have all of my Coleus developing at the same time. So I like to spread them out, and it gives me a little bit of room so I can do a little at a time. So but anyway, stay tuned. I will be getting that video out to you this week. Meantime, if you really want to get started, check through my list of videos. I do have a long list of videos from last year and the year before. I do have about 4 or 5 years worth of videos, different ones. They're usually in order on how to start Coleus seeds. There are a few. They're very easy to grow if you're new here, but there are a few things you need to do to make sure that you get your Coleus germinations going. So, all right, so stay tuned. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Let's go in the greenhouse real quick and see what kind of disaster. Sometimes squirrels get in, I don't know how, but they're crafty little devils. We'll see what kind of a disaster we have in here. Okay, so here we are. Again, if you're not familiar, I built this greenhouse myself. I guess it was about 6 years ago. This thing is like indestructible. It's all pressure treated lumber, and I treated it with insect coating, wood life. I used railroad ties, pressure treated 3/4 inch flooring, greenhouse plastic, chicken wire, and this shade covering. It's a lean-to, so any water rolls right off. Vent windows, vent doors, vent windows front and rear. It's fairly spacious. It's not a huge one. I would love to have a huge greenhouse, perhaps after I retire next year, a year after. We'll look into maybe getting something a little, I don't want to say better, but this is sort of a sentimental thing too. I built it, so it is effective. So let's go in. It is a disaster. You can see now I do store some of my spring things in here also, as you can see, but looks like we did get a little visit. These were up here, so of course, you know, I have it closed up, but it's not hermetically sealed here, so I guess we got a squirrel or visitor in here, who knows, chipmunks, squirrels. So yeah, it looks like we did do a little damage. Of all the years I've had it, I don't get any rodent damage. Last year I had a hornet's nest over in the corner. We had that taken care of. But so what I'm going to do now is just empty out. These are just some pots I had left over last year. I'm going to empty all of the soil out, put it in a wheelbarrow and mulch it up. And I'm not going to reuse it for my Coleus for a number of reasons. I always use fresh potting mixture. What I'll use this for is I'll grind it up, I'll mix in some worm castings, and I'll use it for my larger planters on my property or my vegetable garden. But I do not use old soil for my germinations or for my Coleus plants after I separate them and pot them later on, which I'll do videos on that as well. So all right, so let me get started here. This is sort of how I prepare myself. This is how I start my season. This is how I prepare myself for the next season, the upcoming season. And it also gives me an idea of what I have left over, you know, what I have and so forth. So it looks like I have a lot of pots and so forth. So just getting some ideas, get the creative juices flowing, see what I'm going to be doing for the next season. So once we get our Coleus in the Jiffy pods and they'll start taking off, before I know it, I'll be separating them, potting them, and then thinking about what kind of creative pots that I'll make. You know, these here, hanging baskets and so forth, just like this here. So all right, so thanks for watching Jim's Holiest of Coleus. Stay tuned. I will be shooting that video out this week on sowing, on how I start my 2023 crop. And again, I grow about 500 Coleus. I have about 4 trays of Jiffy pods. So stay tuned. I really appreciate it. Check me out on Instagram. It's a good place to keep in touch with me. If you have any questions, I'm glad to help. Okay, so let's take a look at, let's see what the greenhouse looks like. And I did a little cleanup. I feel good. I feel organized now. So let's get ready for the 2023 season. And I'm very happy to have everybody following along. Thanks again to those of you who bought seeds from me. Getting a lot of positive messages from people who have started the seeds they bought from me, and they're just great reviews. So next year, if those of you who are interested, I will be selling my seeds again starting next September. Don't want to get too far ahead, but anyway, I was very happy to see some messages from followers that their seeds, their plants are on their way, and it looks good, and everything's really going well. I saw this little fishnet stocking germination coming in, and this is going to be a really strong Coleus. I could tell, because it's young and it's already showing its characteristics, and it looks strong. It looks really, really healthy. So keep it up. Follow along here. Follow me on Instagram. Any questions, any kind of questions, don't matter how dumb it is or how stupid you think it is, or how whatever, you're not bothering me. I'm here. This is what my channel's for, to help you. If I don't answer you right away, give me some time. If I don't get back to you in a week, shoot me another message. Don't think you're going to be a pest or anything like that. Just shoot me a question on Instagram or here, and I'll be proud to help you, and we can grow our Coleus together. So subscribe if you're not. Follow along and have a lot of fun this year as we get going and as I create my pots and so forth. Okay, so here we are. This is it. I have these 2 pots. I kept the soil in these larger ones because these will be on my property. I'll mix those up real well. I took the old roots out. I'll mix those up, throw some worm castings in there, and these are pots that I use on my own property. I have some other larger ones. You can see I have a whole, this is one you're familiar with. This is one I keep on my property also. And there's some other little leftover ones and what I'll do is, whatever ones I can, I wipe down really good, and then I put some of these in the dishwasher. I make sure all the soil's out, but just give them a good quick rinse with the dishwasher, and then we'll reuse these this season. So, and here's the leftover soil, and we'll crunch that. I'll get rid of some of these little stems here, but I'll mulch all this up, ground it all up, And you can see it's still pretty rich, but there's a lot of roots too. That's why I don't reuse it for the Coleus. See how prolific those roots are? They really take over everything. So anyway, I'll grind this all up and we'll throw it in our vegetable garden with some worm castings, and this will be good rich soil for our vegetable garden. All right, so let's head in and see how we cleaned up here. So everything's pretty much organized. We got rid of all that rodent mess. I got all my little, these are the nursery pots that when I do separate my Coleus later on, we will have a video on that. These are those nursery pots that I use. And eventually these 2 racks will go inside my house in front of my bay window, because eventually, for a very short time, I'll have these trays filled with the nursery pots. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but just for those of you who are following along, what to expect. But I'll eventually be putting the nursery pots in these, and they'll be on these racks in my by my bay window just for about a month or so, until I can get out here in the greenhouse. And I don't move my plants out into this greenhouse until night temperatures, until after the first frost, which is first week of May. And also, I look at the long-range forecast. As long as the nights don't drop into the 30s or low 40s, I do have this furnace, so I do keep this on when I first move them out. On the nights that it gets, even if it's 50 degrees, I'll keep this on, and it keeps it nice and toasty warm in here. And I don't rush. I learn that every year. I do not rush my plants out here as much as I want to get started and get going into summer and so forth. I learned the hard way. If I rush and put them out too soon, even in here, because this is a homemade greenhouse, it is effective, but it doesn't have a heating system per se. I don't want to rush my young Coleus out here for the danger that they can get damaged. And that's happened in the past, where I've actually not killed them, but damaged a lot of the leaves, and it sent me back a few months, or a few weeks rather. So anyway, everything's pretty much organized, cleaned up. I have a good idea what I have, and it's just for my own peace of mind, and just how I organize myself. Like I said before, how I get my organizing, my juices flowing for the upcoming season. Got my pump sprayer, trays, everything nice and clean, organized. I know exactly what I have. I feel much better now. And we'll start our seeds. Before you know it, we'll be doing regular videos as the germinations, as I sow them, as the germinations progress. I'll get into heat mats, when to use them, how long, when to fertilize. You don't fertilize germinations. Again, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but this is just some stuff that you can expect that I'll help guide you guys along. So if you're following along, I'll make it very simple. I don't want to make it rocket science. It's not. Coleus are very easy to grow. The hard part with me is the amount that I grow, and it's just me. Other than that, if you're growing yourself 20 Coleus or 15 or just a few, you'll find it very, very easy. So, all right, we're done here. This is nice and clean. I feel much better.